Welcome to the Louie Herron Podcast, where I'm going deep into business, sales, leadership, and life. And I mean life, from the boardroom to the bedroom, from business acquisitions to personal addictions, from being saved yet still feeling like a slave, from manning up to mousing out, dealing with divinity to reality. This podcast is dedicated to growth, learning, inspiration, and healing. Jump in, hang on, and hang out. You'll never know which topic I'll tackle next. But one thing's for certain, I'm here to share my experiences, strengths, failures, and hope, all to help us live life at the highest level we can. What's up, guys? What's up? Another edition of the Louie Herron Podcast. Man, I am excited to be here with you today. I'm always excited, actually. At least I do my best to be excited. Excitement and attitude is 100% a choice. It's a decision that you and I have to make on a daily basis. As soon as those eyes open, man, your feet hit the floor, man, say, thank you, Lord, man. You got another opportunity to make something happen. But I do know and do realize that in life, in this life we live, sometimes it's not that easy to get up with those eyes open and say, thank you, Lord. But I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you in this present moment. Listen to me when I'm telling you this right now. I don't care what's going on in your life. I don't care what is going on in your life. And I know right now there's a lot going on with those that tune in and listen in, or you know somebody that's got a lot going on. Remember, this too shall pass. Everything is a divine orchestration for growth, for us to gather, get better, and learn on a daily basis. So listen, let's get going today. I was thinking to myself in putting this podcast together, the impossible journey. Well, what seems to be impossible, it's truly not impossible. It's really extremely possible for us to really grow, especially in the capacity of body, being, balance, and business, what I always share with you guys. But the thought that crossed my mind, how do people, think about this for a moment, how do people really think they can make change in their life without changing the habits? So what dawns on me when I ask this question to you, you don't realize this, but I actually ask myself that question first, right? Because every day without fail, no exceptions, I get up and either early in the day, at some point in the morning, I am like, okay, all right, what do we got to do today to make this thing happen and have a better day than I had yesterday, be a better version of myself than I was yesterday? And sometimes, guys, to be honest with you, I'm on the podcast and I'm sharing with you guys. If you don't think I have shitty days, I'm telling you, I've got some shitty days. I've got some days where I'm like, God, Lord, please, Jesus, help me, Father, Lord. I mean, pray throughout the day. There are things that go on in every one of our lives on a daily basis that can shake us. And so the goal is, how do we really isolate and understand how we make change in our lives? Guys, I'm going to tell you something right now. You cannot live a double life. You cannot, I cannot, we cannot feel like we can make change in our lives without changing the habits. Think about it for a second. Let's take your body for one quick moment, right? You want to be healthier. You've been discussing this with yourself, with the self-conversation about getting better, whether it's something as simple as exercising on the regular, eating better, whatever the case may be. But for whatever reason, you don't change it. You don't change it. You're being in spirituality, connection to God. You know you need to be connected to something greater than yourself. You already know this. Maybe you've got a ton of money. Maybe you've got a lot of things going great, but you know there's still something missing. That hole, that's a spiritual connection. That's God calling you to do something greater than recreate, procreate, do a few deals, and eventually check out in the box 6 feet under. There's more to life than that, guys, but you don't make the change to connect with God. Whatever that looks like, whether that's reading more or praying more or meditating more or journaling and having communication with God in that manner, or maybe it's going to church for you, or maybe it's listening to spiritual podcasts, getting more enlightened, coming to a point of self-actualization. You don't change the habits, that you're not going to change what's going on. Take the balance. Here's a biggie. How about the marriage? Oh, damn. How about that marriage? You bitching, moaning, and groaning about what you're not getting and what's not working and what's not getting better, or you've been married 12 years, 15 years, 18 years, 23 years, and it's stagnant. You got to change something. You got to go create something. You got to go make something happen. You can't bitch and moan about what the current situation you're in and not make the change that's needed to create that balance in that marriage, in that relationship with your children at the level that you know you desire. That really has more meaning than anything in this life. And then you've got your business. You want to grow it. You want to make more money, but you're not making the more calls. You're not leading your people better. You're not practice, drilling, rehearsing. You're not studying. You're not getting better. Every day's Groundhog Day, and you're wondering why things aren't changing. Look, there's no
possible scenario where you can walk two paths at once, right? Like the Bible says you can't serve two masters, no different in life. You can't walk two paths at once. You can't in one side of your mouth you're saying one thing, but your behaviors and actions are doing another. Now, I'm only coming to you from a perspective of I know this all too well. Okay, I've had moments of double life, working, claiming one thing, and my habits and behaviors are not the way they need to be. I'm coming from that experience, and I understand what it takes to make that change. I mean, to be honest with you, the new life you truly want in your body, your being, your balance, and business, the new life that you truly want will cost you your old life. Let me say that again. The new life you want will cost you the old life. We all have to get to a point where we really divorce our old thinking, our old doing, our old habits in order to get what we say we want in our body, being balance in business. All of it has to die. And I always say, and I think there's some truth to this, but when the pain in your life no longer exceeds the pain to change, change typically happens. A lot of times, you want to make some corrective change, but you're not in enough pain right now. You are not in a space where it's that important. You know it's important, but it ain't that important because you're not making that change. Being comfortable is stopping your change. Unfortunately, being a good husband, being a good father, being a good business owner, being a good employee, being a good salespeople is stopping you from being great, right? Why mess up good to go for something and make change that could screw up good, right? But at the end of the day, we've got to grow and get better. But why do human beings have to be in the proverbial bad spot or back against the wall or rock bottom before they make change or they choose to grow? Why do we have to bring ourselves to that space to where, like, okay, something's got to change now, right? Look, I believe decisions are made when we are truly sick of our current situation. You're sick of your situation and whatever your body looks like, feels like, or responds like. You are truly sick of not connecting and not having something greater than yourself and your spirituality. You're truly sick that your marriage is on the freaking brink, or your relationship that you have is dissolved and you've been divorced and you can't pick yourself up because you're so freaking demolished from whatever you experience. You have to be truly sick of your business not prospering, not at the level that it needs to be, and you're tired of the same financial statement looking the same way, looking around like someone's going to come save you, right? And sometimes, quite honestly, if you wait to the proverbial rock bottom or whatever, sometimes it's too late for that. Think about this for a moment. Was to say you're one of those folks, and I've been there before, where maybe the doctor gives you a diagnosis. It's too late to change your health. You've already got the diagnosis, right? So now you've waited too long, or let's just say the marriage, it's on the brink, and you've got to make some change. You finally bring yourself to a point. Okay. I'm going to make some change. I'm going to do some things. But let me remind you, even in business, people quit long before they ever leave the building. You may make all the change you want in your world and relationship. She may already be gone mentally. She's maybe physically there, but she's gone. This is why we have to change the conditions, guys. This is why we got to condition our mind and train ourselves and focus on what we want. We want to become a better version of ourselves on a daily basis before we find ourselves in a proverbial pit or hole that we can't get out of. Look, I want you to visualize in your mind as you're driving right now, or if you're sitting down listening to this podcast, write on a sheet of paper like a little graph. Here's where it starts. Here's where it ends. Where it starts is where you're born, and where it ends is where you die. You put that graph, that line between here and here. And if you're like me, I'm 50. I'm on the back nine, guys. I don't know what age you are listening to this podcast. You may be 37, 33, maybe 41. I have no idea. You have no idea when the good Lord's going to take you home, right? All I know is that time is ticking. Time is ticking. And like I said in the last podcast, sometimes we look at time like a clock, like it just keeps going and going, like it's endless, but it's not the case. It's like the hourglass. You flip that bad boy over when you're born, and the sand runs out when you're gone, right? So I can be the first to tell you I love myself, but I hate my habits sometimes. And I feel like I want to share that with you so you have the same perspective. You've got to love yourself, but you've got to hate some of the habits you do, right? So what's loving yourself? Loving yourself is taking the time with you, reading things, exercising, eating right, serving other people, taking the time to go down and feed the homeless every once in a while. Something greater than you. That's loving yourself, right? Hating your bullshit is waking up late every day, hitting snooze, not making enough follow-up phone calls like you're supposed to in your business, right? Not writing down your goals in the morning when you wake up, reading them, understanding where you want to go, not prioritizing your family. That's the bullshit, right? I'm not calling you out, I'm calling you up. I want you to hear what I'm saying, guys, to encourage and motivate you. So let me just share with you really how this thing all breaks down, right? We're talking about this journey. We're talking about getting better, making change, being a better version of ourselves. Guys, let me explain real quick in 4 quick sentences. Okay? All these habits, all of these things are driven by our results. The results are driven by our actions, and our actions are driven by our thinking. But here's the kicker: the thinking is driven by your beliefs. So your results are driven by your habits are driven by your actions are driven by your thinking and thoughts, and your thinking is driven 100% on what you believe about yourself and what you're going to do. Look, you will never, ever, 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 ever redirect unless you connect. I can't get myself, I can't get you, we, us, all of us will never redirect and change and course correct and go different directions. We can't redirect unless we connect with ourselves, of understanding the authenticity of being congruent, of stop the double life. Like you got habits and things that are not congruent with the things you want to do in life. And until we die to those things, we can't improve and grow and get better. I've lived it. I don't even say lived. I live it. Okay, this is something that I share with you and every human being that walks the planet. I don't care how big, how many zeros you've got in the bank, or anybody else. To say that some people didn't fight this on a daily basis would be ridiculous. All of us have to learn to connect authentically, and before we can redirect the progress that we're looking for. So if we break this down, let's just go through this real quick and we'll end this podcast. Breaking this down, beliefs, right? If we know that it starts with the beliefs, we look at the results, right? We look at the change in the results, but really we got to reverse engineer that and go backwards. It starts with the beliefs, right? So my question to you about your beliefs: what do you hold most true about you? Think about for a second, what are the successes you've had in your life? Those beliefs of who you are, what you've accomplished, what you've done. Are you marinating on those? What do you hold true about yourself? Who are you? In the very first podcast, I mentioned the question, who are you? And so many of us, when we start to answer that question, well, I'm a dad, I'm this, I'm that, those are freaking stats. Those are not who you are. That's what you do. That's not who you are. But these answers of your beliefs will then consequently drive your thoughts. Now, with the thoughts comes the self conversation. So the question is, what conversation do you have with yourself on a daily basis? What is the conversation? Think about this. We tell people all the time, oh man, I saw this guy talking to himself on the street. He looked crazy. We're all crazy. We all have self-conversation. You just do it in your mind. And you're having conversation all day long. The question is, what is the conversation? The beautiful part about life, the beautiful part about change is if you change the conversation, you change your world. If you just change the perspective, if you just change what you're saying to yourself, you literally can change your world as fast as you change that conversation. When you take the beliefs and the thoughts and change the conversation, here comes the actions. Here comes the actions. When you're thinking differently, you're believing differently, you're thinking differently, your actions start to change, right? You start making those proper decisions, and you start taking action towards the things you want. Guess what? Now results start to happen. Right? Whatever results you are currently getting is 100% based on your beliefs, your thoughts, and your actions. There's no hack for this. Here's the downside, right? I'm telling you, have positive thoughts, redirect what you're looking at, understand your beliefs and who you are as a person, take positive affirmative actions, you get positive results. Here's the downside. The downside is if you have shitty beliefs, You don't think much of yourself. You don't marinate on the successes you've had. You don't isolate who you really are. The self conversation and thoughts that you have are consequently conversations of condemnation and freaking tearing your own ass down. Okay, and some of you talk to yourself so poorly you would never allow a friend to talk to you that way, but you do it to yourself. And then consequently, you have shitty actions, right? You don't take action. You procrastinate. You lay back. You sit on the sidelines. And then what results do you get by those actions? Terrible. And then guess what? It just perpetuates. And then change doesn't happen. So again, change can happen in literally a moment. Literally right now you can make change. My question to you is, what will it take for you to stop with this double life, to live congruent authentically with yourself of who you know you can be, who you know God's created you to be, who you know you have something in you greater than what you're currently given, and you know this. You know this. What will it take for you not to break frame? What will it take for you to live authentically within yourself of who you really are? What will it take for you to be congruent with what you have been created to be? Guys, this is our challenge. It's our challenge every single day. The good news, as I'm communicating with you, I'm communicating to myself. I'm in the same boat. And listen, as a leader, as a communicator, a true leader doesn't show you what to see. A true leader shows you where to look. I'm just trying to get you to where to look for it, guys. Where's it located? Where can we all fix it? And as I'm sharing with you, I'm sharing it with myself. Listen, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, this is Louie Herron with the Louie Herron Podcast. Look, I thank you guys for always tuning in on a weekly basis. I appreciate it more than you could ever imagine. Share the message with all men trying to grow in their body, being balanced in business, trying to get better on a daily basis. Subscribe, share it, like it. And love it when you guys leave a review. And if you guys are looking for any more content on growth or life change, please go to louieherron.com, or you can go to @LouieHerronTV on YouTube. Got all kinds of stuff there. Listen, if nobody's told you you're fucking amazing, listen, your brother here tells you you are. You've got what it takes. I don't care what anyone tells you. You can be torn down, ripped down, shredded down. It doesn't matter. God did not create an accident, didn't create a mistake. Every single last one of you have more potential than you're given. You already know it. Let's make the change, right? Let's die to the old habits. Let's create some new ones. Let's focus on the beliefs. Let's focus on the thoughts. Let's focus on the actions. Let's get better results. Let's do what we got to do, men. Let's do what we got to do. Listen, love you guys, and I'll see you next week on the Louie Herron Podcast.